ever set up a beautiful habit tracker and then ignored it for a week or a month or forever? Yeah, me too. In this video today, we are unpacking why habit trackers often fail for our neurodivergent brains, especially for ADHD and AuDHD, and what to try instead. Today, you're going to walk away with some real usable tools like habit stacking and task layering that actually work with your brain, not against it. If you're new here, I'm Nicola, your neuroglorious bestie, helping you turn chaos into clarity without the shame spiral. If this sounds like your vibe, hit the subscribe button somewhere on the screen and turn on the bell so you don't miss what's next. I'm late diagnosed AuDHD, an overachiever, a leader by day, a planner addict by night, and I've tried every kind of tracker, planner, system you can imagine, and they all fell flat until I figured out why and how my brain actually works. This video is the one I had wished I had had earlier. So let's talk about the real reasons so many of us struggle with routines and habit tracking. And no, it's not because you're lazy or unmotivated. It's something called executive dysfunction. Executive dysfunction is like when your brain knows what needs to be done, you've written it down, you want to do it, but there's this invisible wall between your intention and action. It's like trying to run a marathon with your shoelaces tied together at the bottom, and every step takes 100 times more the effort, if you're even getting started at all. Now, when it comes to tracking habits, especially with ADHD, here's what usually happens. You get this burst of excitement, the hyperfocus kicks in, you spend an hour setting up a beautiful system, the colors are perfect, the spreads are flawless, and you feel ready to go. But then nothing. After a day or two, the dopamine is gone, your planner starts collecting dust, the tracker starts to collect dust. And suddenly it feels like you're just looking at that habit tracker and it's just a reminder to you that you have failed miserably. And this is where it gets even more tangled for folks like me with AuDHD. That's ADHD and autism combined. Autistic brains thrive on structure, routine, and predictability. We like to know what's coming next. We find safety in sameness. But ADHD is the absolute opposite. It craves novelty and spontaneity and urgency, and it rebels against rigid structures, even the ones we set for ourselves. So why, when you're AuDHD, is it like being trapped between operating systems? One part of your brain wants things exactly the same way every day, and the other part refuses to do anything the same way twice. It's a constant war between needing structure and rejecting it completely. Habit trackers are basically landmines in that war. They promise order and control, but they also demand consistency, and that's the one thing an AuDHD brain can't guarantee. At least not in one neurotypical way. All right, so I'm curious to know, love learning about you. Have you ever ghosted your own habit tracker? Drop a yep or a yep times 1000 in the comments. I need to know I'm not alone. So let's break it down. Most habit trackers are visual tools. They want you to fill in little boxes or check off little circles every day you complete a task. Sounds really simple, right? But here's what actually happens. You miss one day and your brain immediately goes into a shame mode. You think, I'm already off track. Why bother now? And that tool that was supposed to help you, it now feels like a record of your failure. That kind of visual feedback that might be motivating for some people, but for those of us dealing with rejection sensitivity or executive dysfunction or emotional dysregulation, it just confirms our inner voice that says, see, you can't stick to anything. So missing one day isn't supposed to be the end of the world, but for us, it feels like it is. And don't even get me started on the myth that build a habit in 21 days. Oh my God. That is based on outdated research from the 1960s. It doesn't account for chronic stress, burnout, sensory overload, or the way dysregulated nervous systems work. Our brains don't just need repetition, they need context, safety, stimulation, flexibility, and a whole lot of forgiveness. So no, the problem isn't you. It's the system. It was never designed for how we operate. Now I'm going to ask again, have you ghosted your own habit tracker? Drop a yep or a yep 1000 in the comments. As I said, I need to know I'm not alone. So if a traditional habit tracker hasn't worked for you, and for us, what does actually work? So I'm going to walk you through a few tools and strategies that have actually worked for me and for so many other people with AuDHD. Apparently, I did a bit of research. These are gentle, flexible, but most importantly, they work with your brain, not against it. The first one, which I quite enjoy, and it's a way that I've done a couple, is habit stacking or micro anchoring. It's where you take a habit you already do consistently, drink coffee every morning, and attach a new mini habit to it. So it might be while the kettle is boiling, you do a quick stretch, or while your coffee brews, you review your top 3 tasks. Now for me, it's checking my calendar. I do it while I drink coffee. It's a whole routine. The key here is that you're not trying to invent a whole new routine. You're building on something your brain already trusts. And that means you don't need as much executive function to get it started. It's not, I have to stretch at 7 a.m. It's, when I make coffee, I'm just going to stretch out a little bit. That small shift matters. The second one that we're going to look at is very similar. It's task layering or task sandwiching. The next one is a lifesaver. Task layering is what some people like to call task sandwiching, and this means pairing a boring, overwhelming, or low dopamine task with something that's fun or sensory or regulating. So let's say you need to send a few emails, which is hell if you've got rejection sensitivity or task initiation issues. You might sandwich it like this. Play your favorite hype song, send 2 emails, reward yourself with 5 minutes of scrolling, Pinterest, or lighting a nice candle. I love a nice candle. You're not bribing yourself, you're managing your energy. So you're creating a system that respects how hard some tasks are for you. And that's okay. Visual prompts. This is so basic. Traditional tracking 101. We're replacing tracking with visual prompts. Instead of keeping a spreadsheet or trying to remember what box to check, just externalize it. Use whiteboards, sticky notes, fridge magnets, shoe piles, whatever works for you. For me, it's a post-it note on my computer screen. It's way more effective than a tracker that I will ever open, and we don't need reminders of what we didn't do. We need gentle nudges about what matters right now, and that could change on a day-to-day basis. Weekly check-ins instead of daily trackers are really helpful. So instead of holding yourself to a perfect daily system, zoom out. Try a weekly check-in. Once a week, ask yourself what went well, what went really awful, and what rhythms actually helped me without forcing it. It's not about rigid consistency. It's about spotting the patterns, and AuDHD loves pattern spotting. Maybe you drink more water on a Tuesday. Maybe you crash every Thursday. That's usable data. Autistics love some usable data, so let's use it to build sustainable routines. The next one is permission-based planning. This one's kind of changed a lot for me. Permission-based planning is really interesting. Instead of saying, I must do this today, I say, I'll try. Or if I've got enough energy, or even if today feels good, I might do something. I might go to the gym. This language lowers the stakes. It respects my capacity. It tells my nervous system that I'm okay and safe, and that I have choices. Not that I want choices. I hate choices. But these aren't hacks. These are adaptations because the goal isn't to become more consistent, it's to become more self-consistent, to learn what works for you and your brain and kind of build from there. Now, if all of this is making you think, okay, I want to build a routine that actually works for my brain, but where do I start? Have I got you? I have a neurodivergent bullet journal set up. It's kind of made for us who've tried everything. There's no tracker. There can be if you want. Let me know in the comments and I'll add it. But there's no pressure, there's no perfection. It's just flexible space for you to be beautifully chaotic in. You can grab it for free using the link in the description. It's packed with ADHD and autistic friendly layouts, visual prompts, and most importantly, a permission slip. Because your journal should work for your brain, not against it. Now today, if this has helped you rethink how you approach routines, give it a thumbs up and let me know your biggest aha moment in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for weekly videos that actually get your brain. And subscribing also validates my rejection sensitivity. So if you could do that and help a girl out, that would be great.